Hello everyone, I am Nudos. This might look a little different because we are here in the creative world. I have updated the game. We now have the Pale Garden update, or whatever it's called, and I want to show you why I'm so excited about that. But first, let me just tell you, I found a setting here in the mods. Where is it? Block reflection quality. If I turn that down to low, it turns off a lot of the reflections that were annoying me with the quartz. And that allows us to really see what I wanted to show you. And that is why I am so excited to have pale wood in the game. One of the problems, the reason I turned that down is, you see how this reflects? Yeah, quartz is very reflective normally, but this will show you why I am excited. Over here, this is white concrete. Then we have white concrete powder, and you can see how this is very gray, whereas this is almost kind of pinkish reddish. This is just a weird texture, but really not even the same white as this. I think that little square there maybe is pretty similar. Here we have calcite, which is just completely different in all ways. It's very sort of brownish, grayish, greenish. Over here we have diorite, which is just so much darker than this. This is polished diorite, which doesn't really help. It makes it a little bit lighter, but it doesn't really help. Over here, however, is stripped pale oak wood, or this is just if you place it sideways, and this is if you place it upright. And you can see if you place it sideways, it really actually works pretty well. It's a little pinker, but it works pretty well. And this as a textural variation. This is obviously a bit jarring, but it could potentially work in connection with some of this or some other sort of textural element there. And this really works well because it's a very gray wood. So it works as like a support or something. And then under here, now that the ceiling is no longer reflective because I turned that off, you can see how you could kind of texture your smooth quartz slabs and such by just throwing in some of these sorts of things. And it kind of works. You have to be careful with exactly how you do it, but I think this is exciting and it's going to let me do a little bit more with the bank building over here. You can see how I had tried to throw in some different textural options here. So let's just see if I now go in here and do this, or we do this, and we take this back out and do like that. That stands out a little bit, but not as much as this. I think this was mushroom stems that I was experimenting with here. So then, bloop. We can do all kinds of things. I bet we could even replace some of these stairs. You see how that offers some additional contrast, but without being completely different, which I think is kind of neat. So we'll have to mess around with this a little bit more. This, I think, is a bit much of a variation there, but in some ways it kind of continues these lines from the bricks. Yeah, the problem with quartz is that all of these are such subtle variations in it that it makes it hard to match with just about anything else. But we do have one new option now, and that's nice. We could even just do the entire top. Do like, just kind of vary it a little bit. Be a bit annoying to place, but you can do that. That could be a neat, like, shag carpet look, almost. So, long story short, we are here in Creative simply because there's a lot of neat options that we did not have before that I'm pretty excited about. So, let's get back into the real world. Well, let's get back into the normal Minecraft world. Of course, the problem with being here in my survival world is that I don't have any pale wood yet. because I only just installed the update. I've got good news and I've got bad news here. The good news is I didn't have to reset any of my chunks, so that's handy. The bad news is that the reason for that is all of the Pale Gardens are really far away from this location. So I think I do want to do that right away here, but we're gonna have to go on a journey. Before I go too far out, I just wanted to have a little rant here, a mini rant about why I turned off the reflections. You can see up here on the ceiling, it really doesn't make any sense. It is so reflective. No ceiling should have this reflective of a texture. It would also kind of ruin these pillows, but on the plus side, it does make this a nice shiny countertop, which makes sense. It should be shiny and reflective because it would be polished over years. So that's handy. On the other hand, here we go. So now I've turned it all off, and you can see now we have a relatively flat, non-reflective ceiling, which works a lot better for what I wanted, but at the cost of this. This is now no longer reflective. We do still have some reflections turned on, like the water still works. The glass still has some degree of reflectivity to it, I think, but not a ton, which is a bit of a shame. So there's no real perfect solution here, but I think we'll leave it this way. And a lot of the reason for that is just the way Minecraft works. Yeah, a lot of the blocks you choose just for the color or the texture. And so trying to mix quartz with the pale wood looks really bizarre when you have some aspects of it that are super reflective and other aspects that don't reflect at all. Whatever. Anyway, we're going to leave that off. And I think it's time that we go find the Pale Garden biome. Do I have everything? I should get some more food. Okay, so let's pick a direction. We know that way off that way is the deep dark. Over that way is spawn. Over that way is another deep dark and some snowy peaks, which I think would normally have the biome around it, but whatever. Let's go. We don't go this way very often, so I think this is the way we'll go. I had to come back. I went a long ways that way and found nothing. Just a whole lot of nothing. So I need to repair my wings and get some more rockets because that was very unsuccessful. I thought they were supposed to be around the dark oak forest, something like that. I'll have to maybe check on that and see what's going on, because I don't want to just break my elytra all the time looking for this. I did get some random stuff from ruined portals, so I might as well put that away, I guess. Aha! I do believe we have found one. This is actually not that far away. I think, where do we, so, whoops, what did I just do? I didn't know that was a button combo, my bad. I was just trying to look at my F3 screen, Jesus. All right, south. So basically due south is where we are living. And here it is. This one is pretty big. So I think let's go down there and experiment, shall we? I don't just in case. Normally I keep the music turned down. But I'm not sure if we need that for this. It is very quiet in here. Hello? Hello? So these are the new eye blossoms. We can just punch those, so that's fun. We can just punch the pale moss carpet, so let's take a few of those, I think. These are creepy noises. I think let's take down a tree. We'll want some of this wood and saplings with which to grow more. Hello? There's somebody else here. While I'm here, let's experiment. If I leave this turned off, do I still hear the creepy sounds? Okay. I do. So we've got 31. We've got pale hanging moss, pale oak leaves, pale oak logs, closed eye blossoms, and pale moss carpet. I'm going to let this despawn a bit and hopefully get some saplings out of it. Assuming I didn't accidentally leave a part there. This is really creepy over there. Are you gonna start despawning? What's going on? I have silk touch, so that's handy for that. Let's take down this tree too, shall we? It's really creepy that, even though there does not appear to be a creaking near me, it still keeps playing footstep sounds. Also, the fact that you can just kind of see those off in the distance there. Ah! Of all the things. A creeper? I think we need to go deeper in. Because I don't think anything else can spawn in this biome. At least I didn't think they were supposed to be able to. So I don't love that things are spawning. The silence here is eerie. Are any of these leaves going yet? I'm getting some sticks. I did not come all this way for sticks. Go away. I'm trying to experience the creepy forest and you're ruining it. I'm gonna have to look that up. Unless somebody knows whether or not regular mobs are meant to be spawning in here. I'm gonna light it up just so that they stop. Because I'm tired of it. Excuse me, sir. gonna plop that down. Don't mind me. Okay, it's definitely that tree. Just gonna... Gonna go this way. I really want this resin. So I'm gonna punch him just a little bit. Try and get that off. Okay, whoa there, buddy. So that doesn't count as looking. We love that. Can you stop? There it is. So I think if we silk touch this... This place is sweet. I don't know how many of you are into horror games. It is something that I came into later in life. And this is great. This is exactly the sort of thing I want. All right, so we have a whole bunch of this. We have a creaking heart. We have 10 resin clumps. I'm sorry, 11 resin clumps. It's about to become day, which will mean mobs will stop bothering me. I'm going to put some more torches down. The creaking will despawn. Excuse you, tree. Sir? Sir? There we go. It is now officially daytime. So he's gone. We don't have to worry about that. It's about to become daytime everywhere here. I should grab one of these. Yeah, because now I think we can bone meal that. And we have a sapling. I would like to get a few more of those. I think you only need one, but I don't remember for sure. So anyway, I'm going to keep trying to get saplings here. Can I get this as an open eye blossom while it's still open? I can. Yeah, so I'm going to keep going for some saplings. I'll check back in a minute. Apparently I wasn't paying attention, and I actually have 6 pale oak saplings and then a bunch of other random mob crap. So I think we're good. I'm happy that this is nearby. Oh, there's some more saplings. Sweet. Excuse you. So we'll wait for these to despawn. And then we can finally go do some pale wood and see what that looks like. This biome is very cool. I'm very happy with this addition. Obviously, the terror factor probably wears off. I mean, especially once you know what it is and how to deal with it. Probably watched one too many of the previews and whatnot. But nevertheless, it's still a very cool biome. It's very unlike anything else in the game, other than maybe the ancient city, which I think is also a very cool biome. But with the ancient city, you are forced to sneak around all the time, which gets a little tiresome. Here, you are not forced to do that, and you also don't have to go digging for it. You can just kind of fly around and happen upon it, and then you just kind of go in and stuff starts making creepy sounds. Oh, and also, I don't think mobs should be able to spawn here other than the creaking. If that's just a bug, then, you know, I guess ignore me. That'll get fixed eventually, but for now, I just find it irritating. It kind of ruins the vibe. I want it to be very dark. I want it to be very silent. I want it to be very empty, other than the creaking. Although I suppose if you take out all the creaking hearts, then there's nothing else to threaten you here. I don't know. But I feel like the creaking's kind of the point. So why do you need other things to threaten you? I don't know. Something that's interesting that I have noticed, looking briefly at my seed map, is it seems like these, I think so there is a sort of dark oak biome here, but a lot of these spawn near these icier areas. I would free cam to show you, but that mod is not updated yet. But yeah, so here's like an icy area that goes up, and it's also connected to this dark oak biome. I should probably grab more dark oak. I think I have saplings though, so I'm not going to worry about that too much right now. If I recall, there was also in one of these trees another creaking heart. I don't know how many of those I want or need or how useful they will be in the long run, because the creakings, I don't think they really obey my commands or anything. So if I put it down, it probably just attacks me. That might be something fun to mess with because I don't remember. So like I said, I'm going to wait for some of these. Well, I think they'll just open when I get home. You know what? Let's go back to the base. Let's enter experimentation mode. So we're near the base. There's our pillager outpost, but I couldn't help but notice on the way flying past. What? What a weird place for this to be. It's on like the complete opposite side of this mountain. And there's 2 allays in there. So that's a thing for me to remember for the future. It's time to experiment. So I know that you need to have these. Above it and below it. Yeah, like that. So now it's active. Does it spawn a creaking? I hear creepy noises. Why are you in my house? Oh, I think he's stuck in my house. That is a weird place for them to have put you. Now, if I whap you... It does. So we now have an infinite source of resin. We just need a better way to actually put him somewhere useful. And I think there's like a cooldown on the whapping. So there's a resin... 2 resin, 3 resin. Some more resin. Okay. This is obviously not a very good farm. But I mean, I got 10 clumps out of that. So that's not too bad. And then when we're done, we just close it up. And I get my creaking heart back. And voila. Okay, okay. I would like to be clear, I know there are already resin farm designs out there, but I think this might be fun for me to experiment with. Right now, I'm just putting these over in the misc chest because I don't know what else to do with them. I guess this is a misc plant, or is that a misc mob bit? I'm gonna put it here for now. But we have lots of these logs that we can turn into planks. We have some saplings. I'm feeling great. So out of curiosity here, if we took some of these out, and then we stuck some of this in there. It's definitely a different vibe, and we don't get any of the brick texture with it. So it might not be quite the vibe that I want all the time. The other thing to play around with would be, let's make, like the doors? I think the doors are probably pale, but let's just have a look at the palette that we have now. So we have this. We have this. We have, I think I put the planks away in here. Let me go grab some of the planks so that we can mess around a little bit. We have this. There's the door. That's a cool door. I like that door. We have trapdoors. And we have fences. How can we use this? Ah, wow. I really like the way this lets you do like a black and white setup here. That's very cool. That might be too monotone for that. It could be cool for like the bank. I mean, we committed to this whole copper thing because the copper and the tuff. But I don't know. Let's just go have a look. So that's that. And then what if we just said, actually, I want this instead of the copper. Ooh. Wow. I really like that door. Let's leave that there for now and see how I feel about it. At least it gives me something different. Hello? You better not be mini. We could, oh, hold on. Because we decided this has pink undertones, right? Well, we have a whole pink house to go with our pink undertones. Ooh, that I think might not be enough contrast for what I want for there. But I'm glad that we have the option. How does it look like here? That's fairly subtle. That might be fun to do for the top. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that or if maybe I'm just being weird, but like a house where the top floor is a different color than the bottom floor. That could be fun. I don't know that I necessarily want to use it texturally there. But that could also make a nice support beam. It might be too samey with that. I'm gonna have to sit on that one for a little bit. I could also use it across the top here instead of this concrete. I don't know if this is too many tones of white. That gives it a much more like this is a support beam sort of vibe. Oh, no. That makes it look a little bit more like an intentional support beam. It doesn't quite do everything that I want it to do in terms of the look, but it gives it a more intentional vibe instead of the way it is currently. I think if we're gonna do that though, this would need to be gone. It feels to me like you wouldn't have a visible support pillar like this unless you are doing a more open concept space. So this could work if we do that as sort of an intentional support, and then maybe we double that up over here so that it looks like it belongs. We would put the trapdoors on the sides there, and then obviously this wouldn't be floating. We would put stairs there. We'd close, yeah. I think this being concrete, we're gonna have to change at some point here because I want to put an arch there, and there's no concrete stairs. Still. Mojang. But I still think we can do something with that. We could actually just use all pale wood here instead of concrete, just to give it a more like interior wood wall kind of vibe, but then that kind of ruins the idea of the painted walls. Oh, there's so many things to think about now that we have pale wood. Okay, I swapped this out for the logs, and then this for the stripped logs. I think that gives us a little more texture, and this could actually be fun to do with some of these walls too. Instead of just boring white concrete, this would make it look a bit more like a plaster wall like this. So I might actually go in and start replacing the concrete here just to give it that vibe. That sort of old school vibe. And we can alter the texture a little bit. We can go down, we can go sideways. I need to strip more of it, obviously. We can alter the texture a little bit and have a bit more fun in here instead of it just being a bland wall. And then maybe we put something else here to act as kind of a backsplash. And I still got to fill in these corners back there. I'm not totally sold on this arch. It kind of works, but slabs might be better there. So we could do, just to bring it down a touch without it being too different. Yeah, I think now this actually needs to be something else. The diorite is now too close to that. And this, I wish there was, instead of just the white trapdoors, I wish there was a variant with this color. In fact, I wish you could do the stairs with this color and the planks with this color. That's a fun color too. Okay, so for right now, we're gonna leave this concrete until I figure out what I wanna do as far as the backsplash is concerned. And I might just leave that rim up there as concrete because you can't really see it. Maybe this is too much texture. I don't know, but it gives some kind of life to that room instead of just being that. Cool. Oh, that could have made good pillows, but then they would have been full blocks. So many things. Okay, so now that we have all that stuff, we've gone exploring and all that, I want to do a little experimenting and just see how we can make this farm idea work. So I'm back here in the creative area, and the idea here, I think, is if we set it to night, time set night. Hello? Aha. All right, so now that we've got this figured out, the thing that I want to see is what is their spawning radius, and can I... They can be pushed by water. So I think if we can figure out their spawning radius, excuse you, then we can figure out how to push them to a centralized location where we can whap them to generate resin. The question will be, once they are whapped and there is resin, how do we get the resin off? Can we wash it off? We cannot. Oh God, what have I done? But I bet we could go with a piston. Yes, so that works. And can we also go sideways? Yes. Now we just need the spawning radius. Okay, so it looks like they spawn within 16 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If I had to guess, it's 8 that way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 this way. We can enclose it around so that the creaking can't get out. Then we just need to figure out the best way to knock these off. And what I'm wondering here is if we use a sticky piston, okay, so that will just pop all of those off. It does deactivate this. That's not the end of the world necessarily. We'll need to see how far the radius is on these, because what we could do is set up around here and then use sticky slime, whatever you want to call it. We'd have to pull this up one, but now we can pull all of these up at once. So if there's resin on all of them, the only problem with this particular one is that it also deactivates that. So if we're going to do this setup, we would want to actually rather specifically not pull up that one, but we need that one to be there in order to activate this. That's easy enough for us to work around. So I will mess around with that and create a little platform. We also have to put it up in the air because they can spawn 8 blocks vertically. So that's 4 down, 4 up, I think is the idea. But once we do that, we just figure out sort of what's the optimal pattern for these logs to be there to create resin clumps. Then we just have, maybe on a clock, this just pulls things up and pushes them back down. That pulls off the clumps. The clumps will go in the water. We're probably also pushing the creaking towards us in the middle because, or off to the side, it doesn't really matter. But the clumps can go to the same place the creaking is going, which is where we'll be standing because we have to punch the creaking. And then we can just collect the clumps that way, or have a hopper under us, or something. Let me mess around a bit. The time has come to test my theory here. So I have this, it actually goes out 9 from there, because that way the water will stop. Otherwise the water goes all the way up to this middle block, and I'm not sure that's really what I wanted. This will give the creaking some extra room to fall down somewhere. Maybe that's not necessary, I don't know. We do need to have these raised bits in the corners, otherwise it just fills the whole thing. So let's set the time to night. And he spawned down here. What? Oh, is it a 16 block radius? Okay, okay, rather than go through the hassle of moving everything up, I think if we just move this up, then the 8 block radius down will not be able to spawn on any of this. So then it doesn't actually matter how big this platform is. We're just making it this size because it's a convenient size. So okay, so he does not want to spawn on the water either. Okay, I've gone through a few iterations of this design, but I'm pretty happy with the result. It seems to be scalable, so you can make it bigger if you want. And it's very simple to build. It doesn't take a lot of redstone, and the redstone doesn't really change no matter how big you make it. So let's fly up here. This is it. This is with 1 creaking heart. There's another design over here. You can see this is 4 creaking hearts. Any more than that, and you start to run into water stream problems. It becomes a lot more complicated to actually get this working. Like, this kind of works. It'll all flow towards this middle section. Then the design for all the creaking hearts becomes more complicated, but if you really want to, you can. So this one here is a 9x9. This is a 10x10. That gets you the 4 spaces. This, you need to have the pale wood facing the correct direction as well. So like if you have it coming off sideways, then this doesn't work. And the torches are just to prevent other mobs from spawning. So these here are top slabs. These are dispensers with water buckets. And these are all bottom slabs, but working as a fence to keep the creaking inside. This little circuit is pretty cool. I was trying to figure out the best way to get this to break all of the resin off once it goes on. And this, you got 15 pages, but this is set to page 13. Page 13 is the block placed setup. So whenever a resin appears on here, it counts as a block placed, which means the instant that resin is here, this retracts and breaks all the resin off. The water will flush it into the middle, and because this is only up for a brief moment, the creaking doesn't actually get a chance to despawn. So let me show you how that works in action here. So we get in here, and then it'll be nighttime, obviously, when we are using this. Then a creaking will spawn. You hit this button to turn on the water streams. This is not strictly necessary to have the copper bulb there, but I like it. So you do this, boom. Then there's a bit of a cooldown. Whack him again, resin, bit of cooldown. But you can see we get a handful of resin every time. What is it, like 2 to 3? Something like that. So this is not the fastest version of the farm, for sure, because there's only the one creaking. But you still get a decent amount of resin pretty quickly. The hopper there is just there, just in case something gets past you. Now over here, you can see this is the exact same principle. We just have 4 creaking hearts, so it spawns 4 creaking. And this circuit is exactly the same. The only difference is that I use slime blocks, or you could use honey blocks here, whatever you feel like, just to pick all 4 up at once. So same thing down here. You'll see I'm using top slabs here instead of full blocks for the redstone, but it really doesn't matter. So now we have 4 creaking. You can go whap, 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 whap. And you just have to cycle through them all. Making sure that you're not going too fast because of the little cooldown on the ability. But you can see, because there's now 4 creaking, we have quadruple the rates without really doing anything else. We're already at almost a stack just in that maybe a minute, not even a minute. So I think this farm is plenty efficient, and I think this is what I am going to end up building. Yeah, you can see nothing really gets past you, but whatever. It's fine. And the only thing here is you just need more creaking hearts. If you don't have them, you could just do this until you get them. Then once you get it, break out the middle one, let the creaking in, it'll spawn. Well, it's not gonna spawn right now because it's wet. There you go. That's why we have the dispensers with the water buckets, because they won't spawn when there's flowing water. The copper bulb there is just to remind me that the water streams are on. So anyway, this is the version I think we're gonna build. It's very efficient, all things considered, and very easy to build. Okay, so this is where I'm gonna build the farm, and here is everything that you need. This is probably slightly more slabs than you actually need, but bring some extras just in case. And then these 3 pale oak wood you would replace with 3 additional creaking hearts if you've got them, but since I don't, I'm just gonna fill it in with that. And yeah, as you can see, it's pretty minimal. The hardest things to get here are the copper bulb, which is optional, and the calibrated sculk sensor, which is not. That requires some amethyst, and you have to go to the deep dark. Everything else, and obviously you have to go to the pale forest for this. Everything else is pretty straightforward. So let's just get to building. Okay, well, I try not to be that guy when I'm doing this sort of video and leave some of the things out, but you do actually need more slabs than I thought. So maybe bring 3.5 stacks. I guess having it be just even one bigger in each direction really kind of added up. You also need 4 buckets of water, 4 water buckets. But that's it, I promise. I didn't miss anything else. It's becoming night here, so I think this is a great time for us to check it out. So there's our one creaking. We use this. It's gonna take a few minutes to warm up here. It's got to put resin in all the spots it's not allowed to be in. I forgot to. Ooh. Hold on. There we go. Now we're starting to generate resin. As you can see, I only have the one creaking heart at the moment, so it is not as efficient as I might like. I know there's at least one more in that forest that we can grab. So I will do that when I am able. But yeah, if you just sit here all night, I mean, I'm already at 10 resin clumps. So yeah, that's pretty exciting. Don't be a dummy like me though. Remember to mob proof. I did have a bit of a creeper incident. And now I got zombies coming at me. So, you know, it is what it is. The point is that this farm works. Hello, I would like to get out, please. Thank you. Yeah, none of it's going there. It's all just going here, which is fine by me. All of this should be not spawnable. Mobs don't spawn on scaffolding. So it's working pretty well. So anyway, this has been a bit longer of an episode, but I do hope you enjoyed the sort of the creative process as I tried to figure out what to do about this resin farm. You can see why it is being a little bit less efficient than it might be because I don't have the creaking hearts to fill it out, but that's okay. So I'll grab some of those. I do hope you guys enjoyed. Like the video if you did, subscribe if you're not already, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!